T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition and liftoff of Aries 1X.
Hey everybody, we are on the airwaves once again. Wednesday night, 7 p.m. It's time for us to talk a little music on Undergroundopolis. So here we are. I got a few just real quick announcements. I've been trying to meet this guest for, I don't know, going on at least 2 years, if not 3. Like every time I passed through Knoxville, he had to go to Atlanta or something, or every time he played in Louisville, I had a show scheduled that night. We just kept missing each other. This is our first time formally talking, and I'm really, really excited because we've talked a lot on Messenger and stuff and Facebook. This will be our first actual conversation. It's still not the same as being in person, but it's good. But I'm sure that will happen one day. I have no doubts. All right, first couple little announcements. I'm just going to announce a few shows. Up in Fairfield, Ohio, this Thursday, March 3rd, Punkerton Records presents Bastard Sons with Sepia Heyday and Van Taco at Swine City Brewing. Show starts at 8 p.m., $10 at the door, $10 for 3 bands. That's pretty sick, especially with these bands. These are really good bands, and they'll probably eventually be a Punkerton Records segment on this show. Man, look at my face. I'm going to turn that off. See if that helps. No? Oh, well, I'll just look funny. And Friday, Gravely Brewing Company, 7 to 11, Nectar Valley with Lonesome Holler. Another couple of great bands there. 514 Baxter Avenue here in Louisville, Kentucky. And also on Friday, I'm sorry, that show is on Saturday. My bad. The 5th. It's on the 5th. Friday, the Roast War Championship. Local comedians get up there and bash each other in a steel cage at 21st in Germantown. You know what? I got some pretty good ties with that place. And there's several comedians that are going to duke it out, but the main event for me personally is Aaron Doodle Daddle versus Uncool Randy. Of course, Uncool Randy has helped me write songs. So some of the funny songs I do, he's helped me write that. And Aaron is on Yeehaw, which is a really good, funny show. It's kind of based off Yeehaw. They're both really great people, and I'm really, really excited to see them duke it out. All right, we'll just go move right on. We'll bring on our guest, Mike Billups, Knoxville, Tennessee. Plays the band Rickless Threat. I also have the Shitters Full Christmas compilation, which I just dropped behind the stereo. Just not even an hour ago. So I'm going to have to move the whole desk and the stereo and everything to get it out of there. So I'm not going to, but it was in the slideshow video. I made sure to get a picture of it just to show off that, yes, I do have these records. Hell, he is also the Coffin Curse CEO, I guess would be his title. We'll ask him. We'll just ask him. Let's bring him on. Hey.
Hey, what's up, Rob?
What would be your title? Just owner, CEO, what?
Yeah. I would just call myself the owner.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
We'll
Not too flashy.
We'll start out with the easy questions. How did Rickless Threat come together?
So I've been doing this, playing drums in bands since about 1999, and in 2003, I believe, maybe 2002, I joined a band called the Heartbreak Kids when I was still living in West Virginia. That band needed a drummer, and I joined that band, and we were around for a few years, ended up changing our name to Darling Articles, and probably stayed in the band for about 4 years. But the singer, guitar player, songwriter for that band, the Heartbreak Kids, excuse me, he and I stayed friends. And even though our bands broke up in the early 2000s, around 2012, I'd been through a bunch of bands, and I was trying to settle down. My wife and I were getting ready to move here to Knoxville. And Ryan and I, the singer, guitar player from that band, he and I got back together and did a rock and roll band called Shakedown Boulevard. We did that for about a year. And then he joined the military, and that kind of split us up. So from 2012, whenever I moved to Knoxville, from 2012 to 2018, I wasn't in a band. It was the longest stretch of my life, and I wasn't in a band. And then he just randomly got a job here after getting out of the military. He spent 6 years in the Army Reserves, I believe, or whatever that's called. He spent 6 years in the military, and whenever he got out, he got a job in Columbus, Ohio, at the Ohio State Medical Center. And then he had an opportunity to come to Knoxville and work at a hospital here. And when he came here, I was just like, well, we've got to start a band. But if I'm going to do a band, I want to be in a punk band. So in 2018, we started Rickless Threat as just something to do, really. He hadn't been in a band in 9 years, and I hadn't been in a band in 8 years. We just wanted to be in a punk band again.
Awesome. Yeah, that Shakedown Boulevard CD that's a great album, man. You sent that to me, and I listened to it in the car. It's still in the car, as a matter of fact. I was like, man, this is really great. What happened to this band? Guess that explains it right there, the military thing.
We were a band for less than a year, played 4 shows, spent $18,000 recording that record, pressed 1,000 CDs, played a CD release show, then played a farewell show. I still have over 700 of those CDs in the room to the left of me. So if anybody wants a Shakedown Boulevard CD, just jump in my DMs. I'll mail you one. I got a shit ton of them. I give them away for free with every order.
That seems to happen with running the record company. The guy I'm working with in a band now, he ran a record company. He ran Black and Blue Records, and I guess he still kind of does, but I think he's moving on to something else, which produced the G.G. Allin albums.
Wow.
Yeah. And he's like, it's so hard, because he did it back in the day. He's like, it's so hard. You wind up with rooms and rooms and rooms filled with bands break up and stuff. Rooms, just albums everywhere collecting dust.
Yeah.
And especially vinyl now, because vinyl's so expensive. It's so hard to get. There's only so many companies making it.
Oh yeah.
That's why people don't, when they look at a band's album and say, oh, they want $25 for this vinyl. It's like, yeah, it's expensive. They're probably selling it at a loss.
Yeah, we want 25 for it. Well, we paid $24.75.
Yeah, exactly.
That quarter profit. Oh, then we got to ship it. It's definitely an act of kindness on our end. The bands and labels of the world in 2022. We're definitely working on a shoestring budget and a whim and a dream.
Well, is making cassettes expensive now too?
Cassettes aren't bad. They don't sell very well. It's really hard to sell cassettes because they're very niche, but they're cheap. I mean, you can get 100 cassettes for about $300.
Wow.
Whereas 100 units of a 12-inch album, depending on how big you go with colored records and how big the layout is, even a black vinyl LP with just a basic front and back cover will run you $1,800 for 100 units.
Oh yeah.
So you're talking about $1,500 less to get a run of tapes, and they're fun.
Yeah, they are. Like Like I got this jam box here a few weeks ago at a flea market. I'm so proud of this thing. I try to get it in every shot.
That's
You
awesome.
can't see it right now. It's and I've had so much fun finding old cassettes and stuff, and I've been buying more cassettes when I go to shows and stuff now, just because of that.
Yeah.
But I also have a way to transcode them to digital
Yeah.
on my record player. So
that's awesome.
anyway,
My wife just put a wall. I'm not in my bedroom, but in my bedroom she put a wall from floor to ceiling of their spice rack shelves from Aldi, or not from Aldi, from one of those stores. But they're little $2 spice rack shelves, and they hold cassettes perfect. So I've got a wall from floor to ceiling of about 8 different spice racks that hold about 30 cassettes per rack, and all but one of them's full. So my tape collection is getting pretty heavy. I'm digging it.
I want one of the old 80s style that you mount on the wall, the wooden ones.
Yeah.
They're expensive.
You know why they're expensive? Has anybody told you why they're so expensive?
Why is that?
Recording studios are using them for sound dampeners. So if you go to a studio and you look on the ceilings, you'll go into a studio like the studio, the Rickless Threat in Bristol, Tennessee, or Bristol, Virginia, the studio we record at. If you go in there, Mike, who owns Classic, if you look on the ceiling, he's got like about every 5 feet, he's got those. I said, are those old 80s tape cassette like holders you mount on your wall? He's like, yeah, dude, perfect sound dampeners. They're super cheap. But I guess because they became such a niche thing, they're very expensive. You go on Amazon and buy new ones, they're like $60.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is like more than what I want to spend on.
Yeah. But I guess they're really good for the sound dampening in engineering rooms.
Right.
Now that I've told you that, you'll see it.
Yeah, probably.
You'll walk into a studio and be like, oh my gosh.
There they are.
Yeah.
Well, got off on a little tangent there, which is fine because I love listening to my guest talk. Let's see. What would be your favorite show Rickless Threat has played?
We played a really fun one last night.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Yeah. Last night's show was great. We did our release show for our new EP, Paradise End, and that was great. The turnout was actually a lot better than what we expected, and it was weird. I told the guys in the band I was nervous to play a show for the first time, probably first time I could remember back to where I was a kid playing my first handful of shows. And it was a big show for us. It was our release show for our new record on our new record label Home, and we just really wanted to do well. We did really well, and it was a great show. I would say my favorite show that I've ever played was with this band would have been last night was great, but there's some early shows that were bad that I have fond memories of the early shows that was just when I was the only remaining member of the band right now. So the band at the beginning was me and other people, and we played some really, really bad shows, and I kind of like those shows the best. you know those shows that you expect big things, and then 6 people show up and you get paid in pizza. I love those shows.
Well, what would be your favorite bad show? That's one of my favorite questions.
My favorite bad show, and this isn't me taking a dump on the venue, but the 3 people that are in Rickless Threat now, myself and Dylan and Forrest, this lineup, when we became a 3-piece, when Ryan left the band, and we probably our first or second show as a 3-piece, we played in North Carolina at a venue called Coyote Ugly, and the people at Coyote Ugly were great. The bands we played with were great. Everything about the show was great, but the venue was literally a double-wide trailer that was falling apart. And again, this is me, full disclosure, I am not taking a dump on the place, but walking on the stage, I was like, oh man, my fat ass is going to fall through this stage. This is sketch. And it was the middle of August. It was hotter than hell. So it was a trip. Good show. There was a lot of people. There's nothing really negative to say about the show other than you just felt like you were in the middle of a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie if a concert was happening in the middle of a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. So, but I might be burying myself because that place still exists. They still host shows. I have friends bands that have played there multiple times since then, and they might listen to this and never want to have us back. But I love the club. I would just like to see them find a new a new location.
Did it have tires on the roof by chance?
It had a lot of nude women pictures, and they had us autograph the wall, which is pretty cool. I'm telling you, there's been at least 5,000 bands play there just with the amount of autographs that are on the wall. So definitely an interesting spot.
Well, since it is my show, I get to talk about my favorite song, which does happen to be Paradise Inn, and I've loved it ever since I got the split here.
Thank you.
So tell us about Paradise Inn.
The song itself, it's the oldest song on the EP that we put out yesterday. That song, the EP is called Paradise Inn, but the song itself, we wrote it probably two or 3 months before Ryan left the band. So that was written early on when the band was a 4-piece. And I hate to be the one to even talk about the song because Dylan and Forrest write all the lyrical content for the songs, and we'll get together as a band and piece together the music. But Dylan or Forrest will come to practice with an idea, and then we'll make it a song in the practice space. But those guys write all the lyrics, and the song itself, I hate to say, I don't really know that I know what the lyrical content's about because I've never sat down with Dylan and asked him what the song really means lyrically. But I can answer honestly that song on the 6 songs that are on that EP, it's probably about a year old. So it's the oldest song on the record. And there's actually some songs that are a little bit older than that song that are going to be on our next LP that'll come out probably about a year that we didn't record for this EP just because we thought these 6 songs were a little bit stronger at the time. But the song, it's heavy. It's definitely our heaviest song we've ever written. We have some heavier songs now that no one's heard. Our band's definitely taken a musical change. We kind of dropped the poppiness and got a little bit more melodic hardcore with this record. And moving forward, we're definitely going to be surprising some people because I've already got in the last 2 days people saying, "Man, I thought you guys were a pop punk band. This is not what I remember you guys being." But you know how you've been in bands when you lose members, things just change. And the 3 of us, we're writing the music that we want to play, and this is it's heavier, it's more aggressive, and so Paradise Inn is the fastest, most aggressive song we've written so far that's been recorded.
I like that song a lot, man. I do.
Thank you.
Well, let me ask you this. Which one's the most fun to play live right now for you, especially as a drummer?
That one is a lot of fun to play live. I really like to play the song that we open our set with is also on this new EP. It's a song called Teen Angst. It's track number 2 on the EP, but it's the one for the last 6 months, it's the one we've been opening with. And it's definitely my favorite song to play live. The drums are really, it's an easy drum part, which I'm not afraid to admit that I enjoy playing easy. I'm 41 years old, and I don't mind to sit back and enjoy myself. So it's an enjoyable song to play. It's not technically too advanced, and I can just kind of enjoy it and really bob my head along and have a good time with it. But it's a fun, catchy song for being a little heavier.
Would you say you prefer the studio or the stage?
I hate to answer that question because it's going to sound really negative. I hate the recording studio. I love writing and recording new music. I hate the process. I am a deer in the headlights, white knuckle recording guy. I go in. The joke is the joke is that everybody calls me One Take Mike because I strive to do my parts in one take, and it's not because I'm that good. It's because I stress out. I get in. I start pouring sweat before we've even cut a track, and I just want to be perfect, do it in one take, and move on. because, man, I hate the recording studio. It's such a stressful situation for me. I don't know why. A lot of people stress out about live. I'm so I've played in front of 5,000 people, and I've played in front of 5 people, and the live audience never stresses me out. But my God, the recording studio makes me feel like I'm going to lose my mind.
It does me too.
So
It does.
you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah. You got people that, oh, you got to do it again. That's why that was good.
Yeah. I like a producer who will just say, "Do you like it? Yes. All right, next track." I mean, sometimes that's a bad thing because they just want to. A lot of guys just want to make their money and move on. But man, when you get those producers or engineers that say, "You know what? That was 99% perfect, but you were a little dragging on 3 seconds into 4 seconds." I'm like, Jesus Christ. It's punk rock. It doesn't need to be perfect. You're killing me.
I always tell them I'm okay with a little slop.
Amen. Agreed 100%.
Who does your fantastic artwork?
That is our friend. It's funny. His name is very hard to pronounce. He's from Sri Lanka, and his name is very long, long name. But he goes by professionally. He goes by Judas Vigilante. So on Instagram, he's the Vigilante. If you search the Vigilante, you'll find him. On Facebook, he's the Pizzatanic Vigilante. And a friend of mine, real quick story, a friend of ours, Roger, who promotes shows here in Knoxville under the Black Hearts Productions banner. Excuse me. He commissioned Judas to make a flyer for a show that actually it was a benefit show for human trafficking. And it was during the pandemic, and it was one of the shows, I know you were dealing with this as well, one of the many shows that everybody had canceled, scheduled. The show actually never happened. But Roger commissioned and paid $50 for this amazing poster artwork for the show that never happened. And I just had it on my phone saved in my messages for about 5 months. And when the Heartbreak Kids record, when we were working on the Rickless Threat Heartbreak Kids record, I said, man, I want to get hold of this guy and see how much he wants to charge. I assumed he was going to be thousands of dollars because his work's amazing. And his prices are incredibly, incredibly affordable. And I have used him for like 6 releases for Coffin Curse and now for 2 Rickless Threat covers. And the dude's great. He does stuff in 48 hours, and it's always, you never have to ask him for changes. You give him an idea, he works it out. It's always perfect. It's like he can read your mind, and he really barely speaks English. So it's amazing how well he's able to transcribe our ideas and make them perfect.
I love the Shitters full album cover and the Heartbreak Kids album cover. I made sure to put that into the slideshow because that's a good cover too. And I wanted to definitely ask that question. But
he's done so much good. Let me say this real quick, Rob. He's done so much good stuff. But if anybody's listening or listening to this that wants to check out his work, the thing that I love everything Judas has done for me or us. But the thing that I've loved the most is we did a split. Coffin Curse did a split with Defiant State, which also a band from Kentucky, and a band from Virginia called Chupacabra. It was a split 7-inch, and it was called Bluegrass versus the Old Dominion. And Judas did that cover, and that's my favorite cover. If you Google Bluegrass versus the Old Dominion or just go to the Coffin Curse page, my gosh, that cover blew me away because it was so detailed. I mean, down to I want this guy's face to be doing this. And I gave this guy a laundry list of stuff, and I was like, well, I finally got him on this one. He's going to need some liner notes. 2 days later, sent it to me, and it was fucking perfect. I was just like, this guy must be some kind of soothsayer to be able to figure out this stuff.
So how many bands are on the artists on the roster for Coffin Curse right now?
Right now we have 16 bands on the roster, and of those bands we have 6 albums coming out between now and June.
What made you decide to start this?
The quick story that I can give you, because I'm a long-winded guy, is that Rickless Threat started in 2018. We put out our first EP, and started getting a little traction locally and regionally. We would play and do okay. And I thought, we really need a label to look important. People think, I don't know, in 2020 or back this 2018, in today's day and times, I don't know that you really need a record label to look important. But I thought that, being the guy that I was always on little record labels throughout my career in music, I thought, well, we just need a record label to look important. So when we put out this next record that's coming out, rather than our EP being independent, let's make our own record label so we can put it out and look important, make people think, oh, this band that's actually important. They're on a label. So because we wanted to book tours and travel, so I just made up Coffin Curse. The name is kind of a silly story, but I made up the label as a means to release music for Rickless Threat. It was never meant to be anything more than my plan was, I'm going to put out my band's records. If I do any side projects, which I knew I already had an idea for a hardcore band, which became Ghost Tamer. If I wanted to do any projects for myself, I would put out my own stuff, and I would do some compilations just to be fun. But it was never meant to make money. It was never meant to lose money. It was never meant to do anything other than be a hobby. But then I had three awesome bands. In year one, I had three awesome bands, one being As a Friend from Tennessee, from Knoxville, the other being Sherwood from Tampa, Florida, and the third band was Rough Dreams, another Knoxville band that wanted me to put out their records, and it just blew up from
Yeah.
there. Definitely wasn't meant to be more than just something for fun.
Well, we're starting to run out of time here. You got anything you want to add before we wrap it up?
I want to show you this. If you can see this on the camera.
Yeah.
For this interview, sorry, I'm really bad about this. So for the interview exclusively, my wife made this today. My wife's very crafty. This is just a glass. It's glass, and it's got a little bit of some type of booze in it. But she took our logo and had it used her Cricut. If you're familiar with a Cricut, she made, it's one of these machines that prints vinyl stickers. So like if you wanted a vinyl decal printed to put on like a kick drum for or just like on your guitar case or something. So she buys these long sheets of vinyl, you put it in the computer, you print it out. So this is just, I'm not really bad about finding the camera. So this is just printed out vinyl. And so she took our logo and put it on the cup for me. And when I woke up this morning, she gifted this to me and said, this is for your interview, so you need to show it on the interview. She didn't say that, but I'm showing it because she did a really kick-ass job. She's very
yes, she did.
She's very crafty and good at what she does, but she's not for hire because she doesn't like to do things for other people. That's my running joke. The real reason that she's not for hire is we're both so damn busy.
And I'm sure you got a day job. People always think, oh, you got an album out, you must be making money.
Yeah. That's not true. I work 60 hours a week. I put at least 30 hours a week into Coffin Curse and at least 20 more hours a week into Rickless Threat. And that's just when we're not playing shows. If we're just practicing or working on flyers or, how that stuff goes.
Well, we're going to watch the video that you sent me. Was that from yesterday?
No. That video is actually something that we shot. Our friend Rev, who's working on our music video. We'll have the music video out here shortly. We shot footage for it last night. But our friend Rev, who used to be in a band with a 4-star bass player, he works for a TV network here in Knoxville. And that was a little clip from a live stream concert we did back in August. It was an international thing. It was our friends in Australia do this thing every year where ever since the pandemic started, for the last 3 years, they've had this live stream concert where each year they've won a Guinness Book World Record for the most live streams going on at one time. So we were one of the bands from America that was being live streamed while there was bands from China, Japan, all over. I mean, it was 48 different bands being streamed at the same time in like 16 different countries. So this clip you're getting ready to show is one song from a 10-song live set that we did. So when you asked me for a live clip, I was like, oh shit, I don't know what I have. So I took that 10-song live set and I just made a 2-minute little music video out of it with editing. And that's what took me so long yesterday getting it to you, because I was editing it in between our show.
Yeah.
Initially, I was just going to send it to you, and then I decided I wanted to make it flashy and add the graininess and some elements to it.
I want to thank you so much for giving me your time, man. And fantastic interview. This will be a great episode. And we'll start the video in 3, 2, 1.